As we continue on Yankees Hot Stove, we want to take a look at the deal that brought Aroldis Chapman from the Reds to the Yankees. It cost the Yanks 4 minor leaguers, including third baseman Eric Jagielo and a highly regarded rising pitcher in the system, Rookie Davis. Good to have you back with us as we're joined now by Tyler Kepner, Bill Madden, and Bob Klapisch to talk more about the Aroldis Chapman deal. And want to get your thoughts. Good deal? Great deal? What do you think?
Look, I think it's a deal you had to make, right? I mean, if I'm presented with the chance to get Aroldis Chapman for that package of prospects, you do it, you know, and it makes you better than you were before you did it. But I don't know how much it really makes the Yankees better. I think it makes them more exciting. I think it's going to feel like an all-star game when you can, you know, trot out 3 closer-type guys, the 3 best strikeout artists among relievers in all of baseball, 105 miles an hour on the scoreboard. It's going to be fun. Does it make them that much better, though, off a really good bullpen last year that also lost Justin Wilson? Again, he's not Aroldis Chapman, but he had 74 games last year that were pretty effective. So they're upgrading on that. But it was already a strength. So I don't want to get too excited about how much it really improves the Yankees, but it was a deal you had to make.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, too. There is a different electricity to the back end of that bullpen now.
Oh, the swings and misses are going to be through the roof. I mean, look, we're already in an era, Bob, where 1 out of every 5 plate appearances ends in a strikeout. Now you have 3 of the hardest throwers in the game back to back to back. I mean, it's going to be like a carnival. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But speaking to Tyler's point specifically, I do think it makes the Yankees better because, for one, it's going to keep Dellin Betances to 3 outs per outing. And I think it's going to keep him fresh throughout the season. There's no doubt that he was worn down by September. And I think if he can limit his work now because he's surrounded by Chapman and he's surrounded by Miller, I think if you can keep him to 3 outs, you can have him fresh all the way through. That's a plus.
I think one of the things you have to look at this deal, though, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. And by that, I mean, I don't know if Brian Cashman made this deal because he had this vision of this super bullpen a la the Kansas City Royals of the last couple of years. I think he made this deal because it fell in his lap. And it was a deal, as Tyler pointed out, as we've all pointed out, that they had to make. I mean, when you get a chance to get a preeminent closer in baseball, in Aroldis Chapman, granted, there was baggage attached. We all know about that. But the fact of the matter is they gave up nothing for him, at least nothing that was going to help them in the foreseeable future.
They had a very good bullpen last year. Tyler is right. But when you look at what this guy brings, and you could line up the 3 of them at the end with him being the guy that closes, I don't see how their bullpen isn't better this season because I think Justin Wilson and Adam Warren, those are guys that can be replaced. Maybe it's a Brian Mitchell or a Nova who becomes Warren. Maybe it's a Pazos or a Lindgren who becomes Justin Wilson. You're not finding an Aroldis Chapman if you're the Yankees. So I think they added him. They make it a 3-headed monster, and then they'll fill in the rest of the bullpen going forward.
What about the idea, Bob, that relievers like their roles? I like to know I'm the 8th inning guy. I like to know I'm the closer. Feels like Joe Girardi might have some moving pieces here to use throughout a week.
No doubt. I mean, he's got 3 potential closers now in his own bullpen, and he can pick and choose as he wants. I have a feeling, though, that Joe's going to be a little bit more disciplined about that. I think he'd like each pitcher to know where they're going to work most of the time. I do think Betances will probably be in the 7th inning. Then you've got Chapman in the 8th and Miller in the 9th. And I think if they know when they're going to pitch and how much they're going to pitch, I think it's a positive all the way through.
Yeah, and I think we saw from Andrew Miller already say, you know, I'm just here, I want a parade. You know, Andrew Miller didn't come here as a closer. He was successful as a closer last year. He's not going to get bent out of shape if Chapman's the closer. You know, Chapman's great. And I think to Clapp's point earlier, it was a great word you used. You're a writer, so I'm not surprised. It's carnival. It's going to feel like a carnival, and it's going to be fun. I mean, again, I'm not too excited because I don't think it's going to make them that much better. But I think for the atmosphere at the ballpark, it is going to be great because, you know, we've got that great slurve of Betances, that wipeout slider that Miller throws, and the best fastball in the game from Chapman. I mean, you go to a game in Cincinnati, those fans, and it's not always a big crowd, but they get really excited to see that scoreboard tick up, you know, at levels that we've never seen. I mean, no one throws 105 miles an hour except Chapman, and he's got it tattooed right there on his left wrist, just in case, you know, anybody forgot.
You know, when I said before about the other shoe to drop, what I meant was, I think we have to keep in mind that all winter long, Brian Cashman was talking to everybody about Andrew Miller. He was shopping him around. I don't want to say actively shopping, but he was trying to find out what kind of a market there was for Miller. And I think, even now, I think if he can get a really live, big arm, as we talk, a Lance McCullers type, somebody like that, who's young, controllable, has enormous potential, he would do that deal in a minute. And I still think that this deal that dropped in their lap like it did was not a design deal for this super bullpen. It was a deal that gave him depth and gave him even more, I don't want to say incentive, but even more
potential to deal Miller.
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
They were trying to get Chapman at the All-Star break last year, so they were trying to build a super bullpen. It's something that has been on their mind. I agree with Bill in the sense that the price tag became different, so of course you pounce on that. And one thing to remember about not moving Miller is that they still don't know what Chapman's future is. They still don't know if some sort of suspension might come down. We don't know what Rob Manfred is going to decide based on the alleged domestic violence issue. So I'm not taking something away from the bullpen when I still don't know what's going on with Chapman. My gut feeling is different than Bill's. I think they keep these three guys together, and it allows them not to worry as much about their rotation.